The mayor of Rothfield comes to you in the middle of the night, bursting through your door and pacing as you tear your sluggish bodies from sleep. "Those monsters from beyond the mists," he growls. "I warned the outlying farmers it wasn't safe anymore, but I never thought." He turns to you, an accusing finger leveled in your direction. "This is your fault, isn't it? You got them riled up. You failed to kill that damn vampire. Now the Klempfelders and the Boone Boys and that young couple, the Urshikas, they've all been taken by dead men back into the mists." For the first time, you realize the mayor's bulk conceals powerful shoulders and thick, strong arms as he grabs your weapons and throws them at your feet. "If you want to be welcome in Rothfield hereafter, you go and you save everyone you can, or kill that vampire and his handler. Either works for me." Tracking Kindrathul's minions proves simple, and you soon find the captive villagers in the heart of an enemy camp. It seems that the vampire is continuing his diabolical experiments, this time on innocent civilians, and Wyker's soldiers are providing security. "Oh look," says Kindrathul as you approach. "It's last season's fashion. I'm done with you. Go away, etc." he says with a dismissive wave. "I have work to do if I want to keep blood on the inside where it belongs." This is Freedom from Flesh. The heroes start in the entrance. The flesh molders start in the lookout post. The goblin archers start in the pit chamber. Kindrathul is up over here. We place the 9 prisoner villagers over here. We place the search tokens over here. The hero's goal is one of 2 things. The first is to take out 5 prisoners and to release them at both either the entrance or exit. And the other way is to defeat Kindrathul and then defeat Artis Ex Erebus after Kindrathul is defeated. The Overlord wins when either they corrupt 5 prisoners or they knock out all 4 heroes. I forgot to do this for the whole scenario, so the heroes had a huge advantage, but at the end of the Overlord's turn, they were supposed to get a Flesh Molder reinforcement at one of the pits here. First up, we have Sindriel. She is a rune guard. She has rune grafting, raised ed, shield mage, fury of undeath, and corpse blast for skills, and also reanimate. And then for items, she has immolation, iron shield, and heavy cloak. Next up is Tombo Burrowell. For skills, he has Greater Calling, so he's a dual class with Monk and Disciple. He has Blessed Strike, Prayer of Healing, Armor of Faith, Inner Balance, and Open-Handed. And for items, he has Fists of Iron and Mana Weave. Next up, we have Brother Garen. He has Vigilance, so he's a Watchman with the Thief subclass. He has Trailblazer, Quick Recovery, Dirty Tricks, Greedy, and Sneaky for skills. For items, he has Iron Shield, Steel Broadsword, Lucky Charm, Leather Armor, Throwing Knives, and Iron Bound Ring. And last up, we have Widow Tara. She has Arcane Veteran, so she's a Battle Mage with subclass Knight. She has Planar Weapon, Runic Weave, Challenge, Advance, and Oath of Honor for skills. And then for items, she has Wooden Shield, Rune Touched Leather, and Sunburst. First up for the Overlord, we have a Scourge token that comes out from the Ties That Bind. This kind of ties up Hero's Fatigue and has a melee attack of a red die and a blue die. Next up, the Overlord has Shambling Colossuses right here. The regular ones do a Puncture, which is some Pierce based on the number of shield dice that are rolled. And then they also can do Surges for some extra damage. And then the Master one has Harrowing, which is a chance to terrify the heroes. Next up are the Flesh Molders right here. They have some Surges for some extra damage, and then they can also mend themselves, and then the Master one can heal other monsters, and then they do a ranged attack with blue and yellow dice. The Overlord also gets to get Goblin Archers. They have Scamper right here, so they can move past heroes that they normally can't do. The regular ones have to be within a Lieutenant or a Master minion right there to use their Surges, which is going to be extra range and extra damage right there. And last up for the monsters are the Ettins right here. They're going to have a melee attack with blue and red dice, but they do have reach here, so they can attack from 2 spaces away. They have some Surges for some extra damage, and the Master one can pick up and throw heroes if they fail a test. First up for the Lieutenants is Kindrathul. He has Bloodlines right here, which gives him more defense based on the number of knocked out heroes. He has Enthrall, so he has a chance to take over some enemy heroes for attacking themselves. He has Sorcery 4, so he can swap his damage he does with his range and vice versa. And then there's a Surge for Bone Splinters. It's like a little area of effective 2 damage next to the target. He has a ranged attack of a blue die and 2 yellow dice. Last up for the Overlord is Artis Ex Erebus right here. He has Flanking, so he gets the ability of one of his fellow monsters that's a cursed type. He has Fury right here, so he has a chance to get an extra surge by doing a strength test after his attack. He has a rally action, which gets rid of conditions from all the monsters within range 3, and he has a surge for Pierce 1. He does a melee attack with the blue die and 2 red dice. Alright, it's on to traveling to freedom from flesh. We start in Rothfield Village. We go across here and grab a road event. Let's see what we get. We get this right here. 12 roads cross your path. One hero tests knowledge or awareness. If the hero fails, the Overlord draws one additional travel event card and resolves any number of events they choose. Alright, we're going to go ahead and see who we roll for this. The heroes are going to choose Brother Garen because he has 4 knowledge, but also Trailblazer skill gives him +2 during travel, so that's 6, and then he has a lucky charm to re-roll. So let's see, he's trying to get 6 or less. He ends up passing. All right, we passed that. Now we go over here for this Flatlands test. Let's see what we get. We end up getting, let's see right here, no event. All right, on to the last event right here. It's going to be a mountain event before we start Freedom from Flesh. Let's see what we get. We get right here, mountain, no event. Time to start. All right, first up for the heroes is going to be Tomble, but before he goes, we're going to use Brother Garen's Trailblazer ability to give everyone 1 free move. So let's go ahead and do that. Everyone next to him, which is everyone. So 1 up there, 1 right over here, and 1 right there. Let's go ahead and spend that. Let's exhaust that for being used. Tomble is then going to move with his first action. He gets 4 movements, 1, 2 into the sludge, 3 onto the crumbling terrain, but then we have to test to see if he falls through. He's going to use awareness, so he has to get a 5 or less. Let's see. And then he succeeds, so onto the movement. He has 1 movement left. He's going to go on this crumbling terrain and roll again for that. All right, before we go on, I'll show you guys the dice tower that I'm using. It's this dragon. It's just kind of too big to have it in frame the whole time. All right, but now you guys can imagine it. All right, he's going to roll awareness. Again, he has to get 5 or less. He got a 3, so he's good. All right, Tombo is going to use a free action from their Fist of Iron weapon to do a melee attack on this flesh molder right here, the regular one. He gets a blue die and 2 yellow dice against a gray die, but because it's a cross melee attack across elevation, they also get to add a black die. He's trying to do 5 damage. All right, let's see what he can do here. This is a free attack. He has a lot of potential surges. It's just like it chops with this Fist of Iron right here. Let's see. We're not going to use the Mana Weave because it looks like we're good enough. There is 4 defense rolled. So let's go ahead and use the 2 surges for 2 more damage. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, -4. 3 damage goes through and it's still alive. Let's go ahead and place the 3 damage right over there. And then his second action is to do the same attack right there. Same dice, 2 yellow and a blue with the Fist of Iron against a black die and a gray die because of the elevation, trying to do 2 damage. All right, not too much damage that has to go through. Ooh, that's a miss. Let's see if there's anything we can do about that. Nope, he has nothing to re-roll, so that's the end of Tomble's turn. I actually messed up which characters I was going to have at the starting zone, so it's supposed to be these 2 swapped. So when the free movement happened, it was 1 up here and 1 up there. The heroes did have a plan. I just mixed up the heroes. All right. So next up is Widow Tara right here. She's going to use Oath of Honor to target Tomble, who's next to a monster. So she gets to go right here like that. That costs her 1 fatigue, and then she gets to make attack against this flesh molder with Sunburst, a yellow die, and a blue die against a gray die, trying to do 2 damage. Go ahead and place the 1 fatigue for Oath of Honor right here. Let's go ahead and give the attack a roll. Remember, trying to do 2 damage. It looks like we're going to get it because we have 3 damage minus no defense. The flesh molder gets knocked out. And then because of that, we are going to spend 1 fatigue on advance to go ahead and then move and make another attack. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so let's remove this one right here. And then she gets to move up to her speed. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 right over here. And then we're going to attack this one with Sunburst with a yellow die and a blue die against a gray die, trying to do 5 damage. All right, she's hoping for some surges. Let's see what she gets. She ends up getting a miss, but she does have a once per round reroll, so we're going to go ahead and give that a good jiggle and then see if it changes anything. It doesn't, because it looks like we just have 3 damage against 3 defense, so no damage goes through. That was a free action, the advance. So her second action is to attack that one with the same deal, blue die and a yellow die against a gray die, trying to do 5 damage. All right, let's see if she can get this one through. It looks like it's going to be, let me pull it all out here. So 2 damage against, so 2 damage against 1 defense, 1 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and put the 1 damage right there, and that's the end of Widow Tara's turn. All right, next up is Sindriel. She's going to do a ranged attack on this flesh molder with her immolation. She gets a blue die and a red die against a gray die. She's trying to do 4 damage, but she needs 3 range. All right, let's see if she gets the range first. She got the range right here, so it looks like there's 3 damage and a surge against 2 defense. There is Pierce 1, and we're also going to use another surge for 1 more damage. So 4 minus 1, 3 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and put that damage right over here, and then she's going to do another attack here with her immolation. She needs 3 range against red die and a blue die against a gray die, trying to do 1 damage. All right, first thing is important is the range. Let's see if we get that. We got a miss. I don't think there's anything we can do about it, so that's the end of her turn. Last up is Brother Garen. He's going to attack this flesh molder with his throwing knives. He gets a blue die and a yellow die against a gray die, trying to do 1 more damage. Let's see if we get the range of 3 at first. It looks like we got the range, so let's take this all out. We have 2 damage and a surge against a defense, so we're just trying to do 1 damage. So we're going to go ahead. Yep, it's enough there to take him out. We could use the unspent surge to get rid of the fatigue, but we're already full on stamina. Let's go ahead and knock out the flesh molder. Go ahead and remove this one from the map, like that. We're then going to use this next action and last one to move 3. 1, 2, right over there, and that's the end of Brother Garen's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord's turn, they draw a card, which ends up being Poison Dart. Kindred Thule is going to go first. He has a movement of 4, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 more right over here next to the prisoner to try to turn them into a Colossus at the end of the turn. Next up are the Flesh Molders. The regular minions can go 1, 2, 3, interrupt his movement to go ahead and open this door like that. And then it's going to go 4 right over here. And then the Master one gets to move 4 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4 right over here and make an attack against Widow Tara. It gets 2 yellow dice and a blue die against her 2 gray dice and a wooden shield. All right, let's see how much damage goes through. It's adjacent, so it doesn't have to worry about range. Let's see. We got, 2 damage and 2 surges right here against 5 defense. That is a lot of defense. So we're going to use the first surge for 3 more damage. We don't need to heal ourselves. So it's 5 against 5. No damage goes through. Next up are the Goblin Archers. The Master one's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over here. And then corner to corner, it only clips the corners, so it's good. It's going to attack Widow Tara with a blue die and 2 yellow dice against 2 gray dice. It needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 range. All right, let's see if we get the 6 range at first. We can surge for more. It looks like that's going to be 1, 2. Wait, nope, we did not get the range. We do have a potential reroll. We're going to think about it real quick. They're going to hold off on the reroll because the defense roll is too strong as well with the shield, so there's not too much damage potential unless we roll the best on the yellow die. All right, so that's the end of the Goblin Archer's attack. All right, this Goblin Archer minion's going to go next. It has a movement of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over here. Going to attack Widow Tara with only 1 blue die and a yellow die. It needs to get 1, 2, 3, 4 range against Widow Tara's 2 gray dice and a wooden shield. All right, it's trying to get 4 range. Let's see if we get the range first. It looks like we did get the range. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of damage go through. We are within 3 spaces of a couple of master minions, the Flesh Molder and the Goblin Archer, so we can use surges. So let's go ahead and use the first surge up here for 2 more damage. So 4 minus 1 plus 1. So 4 minus 2, 2 damage goes through. Let's place that right over there. Next up is this Goblin Archer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did check with a straight edge off the screen. This does reach Widow Tara from corner to corner. It's going to be a blue die and a yellow die against her 2 gray dice. The archer needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 range. All right, let's see how much if they can get the 7 range. We did get the 7 range right here, so that got lucky. Let's go ahead and bring this out. And then we are within 3 spaces of a master minion. Let me double check. Oh yeah, we're right next to the master Goblin Archer, so we don't have to worry about cowardlies. So the 1 surge up here is going to be for 2 more damage. So it's going to be 4 damage, minus 1, 3 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and exchange the 2 for 5 right here, and that's the end of that Goblin Archer's turn. All right, next up is this Goblin Archer. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. It's going to attack Widow Tara. Needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 range. It's a blue die and a yellow die against 2 gray dice. Let's go ahead and see if we get the 6 range. We get a miss right here. We could re-roll it. Let's, 1 second, let me put that in view. We could re-roll it, but we don't know if it's worth it because there's 2 defense. Let's think about it. The Overlord thought about it. It's not worth re-rolling it, so it's the end of that Goblin Archer's turn. All right, last up is this Goblin Archer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. Attacking Widow Tara needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range blue die and a yellow die against 2 gray dice. All right, let's see if we get the 5 range right here. That's good. So we got 2 damage and a surge against 3 defense. We don't have to worry about cowardly because we're next to a master minion. So surge is for 2 more damage. So 4 minus 3, 1 damage goes through. Let's put that right there. All right, that's the end of the Goblin Archer's turn. Real quick, we had Runic Weave here to then use this to exhaust our shield to prevent 1 damage. So we'll go ahead and heal up 1 real quick. At the end of the round, Kindred Thule is going to try to corrupt this prisoner right here. It needs to do a knowledge check. Kindred Thule has a knowledge of 4, so he has to get 4 or less to corrupt the prisoner. He got it, so let's go ahead and do that. Kindred Thule gestures and blood flows unnaturally from the innocent's eyes, mouth, and nose, lifting up into the air in red tendrils. Yeah, that'll do, says Kindred Thule. And then with a gesture, he casts the blood down into a pit filled with jumbled bones and scraps of metal. A red light kindles, and then the bones and scrapes assemble themselves into a hulking monster. We replace the prisoner with the Shambling Colossus. This one's the master one right there, and that's the end of the Overlord's turn. Brother Garen's going to go first. He's going to move 3, 1, 2, 3 right here, and then for his second action, he's going to use his greedy ability for 1 stamina to go ahead and search a token within 3 spaces. So we're going to grab that. Let's see what we get. We end up getting this right here, a health potion. But then the Overlord's going to use Poison Dart right here. So he has to test either awareness or might. And then if he passes, the Overlord gets to draw another card. If he fails, he takes a damage, gets a fatigue, and is poisoned. Let's go ahead and roll that. Let's not forget the fatigue for greedy right there. And then he's going to test awareness. He has to get a 2 or less, or else he's poisoned. He got 2, so he succeeds, but the Overlord gets to draw another card. The Overlord here ends up getting Frenzy. We would have actually have taken a fatigue to get another movement during the turn. We would have stopped there, done the greedy, and then we would have ended our turn here, which allows us, because this hero is untainted, to grab this prisoner, put it on their card, and then they have +2 health, and they have to try to get this through one of the exits or entrances. Go ahead and get the fatigue for that extra movement, and then the prisoner goes right here. That's the end of Brother Garen's turn. Sindrael is next. She's going to move 1. Well, she has 4 movement. She's going to interrupt her movement to summon a reanimate right here for 1 fatigue. Let's go ahead and spend the fatigue for Raise Dead right there. Let's go ahead and put the reanimate right over here. And then she did 1 movement, 2, 3, 4 right there for her second action. She's then going to flip her feet. So her and Brother Garen will get to move 3 spaces each. He's going to go 1, 2, 3 behind the locked door right there. And then she's going to go 1, 2, 3 right here. End her turn, and she gets to rescue this prisoner right here onto her mat. Let's go ahead and flip this over first to show she used her feet, and then we're going to put the prisoner right over here. That's the end of her turn now onto the reanimate. Reanimate's going to move 3, 1, 2. It's going to attack the Master Flesh Molder. I messed up the Molder's defense earlier, but I'm going to fix it now. So it's a blue die and a red die against a gray die and a brown die. It's trying to do 7 damage. All right, let's see how much the reanimate does right here. Looks like we got 4 damage and a surge against, it looks like 2 defense. So the surge is going to add 1 more damage. So 5 minus 2, 3 damage goes through to the Master Flesh Molder. Let's go ahead and put the 3 damage right over there. And that's the end of the reanimate's turn. Next up is Widow Tara. She's going to make an attack. Actually, she's going to do challenge. So she adds +1 damage to this one. Let's add her token on it as a reminder. Let's go ahead and put that right there. So it's going to be +1 damage. She's going to attack with Sunburst on this, trying to do 4 damage to knock out the Flesh Molder. It's a yellow die and a blue die against a gray die and a brown die. All right, let's see if she can do the 4 damage to finish it off. She does get +1 damage because of the token. We're actually going to put this right over here to not forget, and then let's exhaust the challenge. There we go. That would remind us. All right, let's see. She ends up getting to 3 damage and a surge, but there is 4 defense here. So we could do a reroll. I don't think we want to. Let's do the surge for 2 more damage. So that's 4, 5, 6, -4. So only 2 damage goes through. Let's exchange the 3 for 5 right there. And then her second action is the same attack with the Sunburst, yellow and blue, against the Master Flesh Molder, gray and brown, trying to do 2 damage. The challenge is still in effect until the beginning of her turn because that's when it unexhausts. So let's see if the 2 damage can go through. Looks like we got a damage and 2 surges. And then we do have 5 defense. So we might have to do a reroll here. Let's think about it. So it's going to be 1, 2 damage plus a surge, so 4. So yeah, let me think if there's any way to get enough damage to do 1 damage or to do 2 damage. There's unfortunately no way to knock out the Flesh Molder, but she's going to use her reroll to do this. She's hoping for, I think, 2 damage on it. Let's see if she gets it. Oh, she did get it, so I think she still gets to do a damage. So let's add this all up. 1 surge for stun, 1 surge for +2 damage. Actually, we don't need the stun. We're going to plan on killing this one this turn, so we'll use it to get rid of a fatigue. So we'll do that right ahead. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -5, 1 damage goes through. That was unfortunate, but we're going to put the 1 damage right there, and that's the end of Widow Tara's turn. All right, last up is Tombo. He has to spend 1 fatigue to get 1 more movement point. Well, the first thing is he's going to go on this crumbling terrain, and he has to roll to see if he falls down it. 1 fatigue for the extra movement we'll get later on, and then he's going to use his awareness 5 on the terrain, so he has to get a 5 or less. He ends up getting 2, so he passes. Let's continue his movement. So he's going to have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over here, and then he's going to use his Power of Healing on Widow Tara to roll a red dice, and that's how much she heals. And then she's also going to get Armor of Faith, an extra brown defensive die. We're going to put Tomble's token next to her to remind us of that. Let's go ahead and see how much she heals up. All right, we're going to exhaust the Prayer of Healing, add the 1 fatigue for that. Let's go ahead and roll the die. She gets to heal up 2, so we'll go ahead and replace the 5 with the 3 right here and then continue his turn. For his second action, Tombo is going to do an unarmed attack on the Master Flesh Molder, trying to do 1 damage. It's a blue die against a gray die and a brown die. All right, let's see. He's trying to do 1 damage. Open-handed does allow him to get another attack if he ends up defeating this monster, and he has Pierce X, where X is the range. So let's see what happens. So we get Pierce 5 with 1 damage and 1 defense. So the Flesh Molder gets knocked out, and we have a couple things that happen. Let's go ahead and spend the fatigue here on open-handed to get another attack. So we're going to remove the Master Flesh Molder, but then the Overlord's going to bring in their Scourge Servant token right over there. Let's go ahead and exhaust this like that. So with open-handed, we're going to do a free attack with Fists of Iron on this Flesh Molder right here, trying to do 5 damage with the blue die and 2 yellow dice against a gray die and a brown die. All right, let's see how much damage goes through. We end up getting a lot of damage and surges. Let's bring it out. 2, 3, 4 damage and 2 surges against 2 defense. Remember, we're trying to do 5 damage, so the 2 surges are going to be for 2 more. So that's 2, 4, 5, 6 -2. Only 4 damage goes through, but we will use this to get a extra surge to then remove a fatigue. So let's go ahead and do the 4 damage. We're going to place the 4 damage right there, and then Tombo gets a free action with their Fists of Iron to do another attack. They're going to attack the Flesh Molder, trying to do the last bit of damage. Same thing, 2 yellow and a blue against a gray and a brown. All right, let's see if he can do the last bit of damage. Let's see right here. Looks like we are going to get there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, minus the 2 defense here. It gets knocked out. Let's go ahead and remove the Flesh Molder from the map, and that's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord's turn, they draw a card. Ends up being another Frenzy. First up is the Scourge Servant. It's going to attack the Reanimate right there with the blue die and a red die against no defensive die. Let's try and do 4 damage. Let's see if we can get the 4. We end up getting 5 damage, so that's good and knocks out the Reanimate. Let's go ahead and remove that from the map, and then the Scourge Servant's going to move its 1 space right there. Next up is Kindrathul. He's going to go 1, 2, 3 and try to corrupt this one at the end of the Overlord's turn. And then this Shambling Colossus gets to move 3, 1, 2, 3 and expand over here. Large monsters and how they interact with lava is weird. It's not entering in this space. It's entering in this one. I know it's weird, I looked it up, but I just wanted to talk about that now, and that's the end of the Shambling Colossus' turn. Next up is this Goblin Archer right here. It's going to attack Tomble right there. It's going to be a yellow die and a blue die against 3 gray dice, because Tomble gets his 1 plus 2, 1 from her natural defensive pool, and 1 from her armor. All right, let's go ahead and roll that. Needs 1, 2, 3 range. Oh, Tombo also gets a brown die because she has the Prayer of Healing effect with the Armor of Faith on her, which counts as a brown die to her pool as well. So I only have 2 gray dice, so we're going to have to re-roll one of them or add it all up. All right, let's see if we get the 3 range for the Goblin Archers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 range. It looks like we're doing only 3 damage right there, so we don't have to roll another gray die, so it's at least 4 defense, so that's a miss. Move 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over here. This Goblin Archer is going to go next. It's just a regular minion. It's going to attack Tomble. Needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range. A yellow and a blue die against 3 gray and a brown. All right, let's see if we get the 5 range first. Let's see, we got the range. We do have to roll 1 more gray die, but give me a second. So it looks like there's 2 damage and 2 surges. So I guess only 1 surge is useful up here. So 2 more damage. So that's 4 damage. Let's roll our third one. 4 damage against 1 defense. 3 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and add the 3 damage right there. We're then going to move back 1, 2, 3, 4 over here in the corner. And then this one's going to go 1, 2, stop its movement, attack Tomble. Needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range. A yellow die and a blue die against 3 gray and a brown die. Let's see if we get the 4 range first. It looks like we got the range. Let's go ahead and bring all of this out. So it looks like 1, 2, 3 damage and 2 surges. Only one of them matters for 2 more. So that's 5 damage against 3 defense so far. Let's roll this one so we get a third one. 3 defense, 4, 5. So it looks like no damage goes through. All right, back to the movement. 3 left. 1, 2, 3 right over here. And that's the end of that Goblin Archer. All right, this archer's up next. It's going to attack Tomble. Needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range. A yellow and a blue against 3 gray and a brown. All right, we need the 4 range. Let's see if we get it. We got a miss. We could re-roll it, but our damage is so low here that we're just going to let that miss slide. All right, this one gets to move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the back right there. And the last one is the Master Archer, Goblin Archer, the red underneath there. It's going to attack Tomble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range. It gets 2 yellow dice and a blue die against 3 gray and a brown die. All right, let's see if it gets the 5 range. That's what we're, okay, that's going to be a miss. Where's the, oh, this one's, we're going to think real quick to see if we want to re-roll that, because there's a lot of defense, plus the Tomble gets to roll 1 more gray one. They're not going to re-roll. It's too much defense for Tomble, but they are going to use Frenzy to go ahead and use this attack again. All right, remember we need 5 range, so let's go ahead and see if we get that first. Let's roll everything down here. That's another miss. We're going to think about it once again. The Overlord thought about it. It's just not enough damage, even if this rolls like the best number, because there's also another gray die coming, so we're just going to let that one be a miss again. All right, the Master Goblin Archer is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right over there, and that's the end of the Overlord's turn. Kindred Thule is going to try to corrupt this prisoner at the end of the round. He needs to do a knowledge check. He has a knowledge of 4, so he has to get 4 or less. Let's go ahead and do that. He got a 4, so he succeeds in the corruption. So the Overlord collects this prisoner. It's corrupted, and then we got the Shambling Colossus right over there. That's the end of the Overlord's turn. Brother Garen's going to go first. He's going to use his sneaky ability to exhaust that skill to get a free door open right over there like that. Let's go ahead and exhaust that right there. He's then going to use Trailblazer so he gets a free movement. He's going to move 1 right over here, and then his first action is to go 3, 1, 2, 3 right over here, and then his second action is to use Greedy to grab this from 3 spaces away. It costs him fatigue, so 1, 2, 3. He's going to grab that. He's going to spend the 1 fatigue for the Greedy. Let's see what he gets. He ends up getting Cursed Doll. Sindriel's going to go next. She's going to go 4 movement, but then spend 1 fatigue to go 5 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over here. And she's going to spend 1 fatigue for Raised Dead to put a reanimate right over there. 1 fatigue for the extra movement and 1 for Raised Dead. The reanimate's going to move 3, 1, 2, 3. It's going to attack this regular minion goblin with the blue die and a red die against a gray die, trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see what it gets right over here. We end up getting 5 damage and a surge against, oh, that's cogged. so we're going to have to re-roll it. Against 3 defense, so the surge right here is going to be 1 more damage, so that's going to be 6 minus 3. 3 damage goes through to the Goblin Archer. Let's go ahead and put the 3 damage right there, and that's the end of the reanimate turn. Tombo up here is going to go next. He's going to move 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then spend 2 fatigue to go next to this Goblin Archer right over there. Let's place the 2 fatigue on him. Next up, Tombo's going to go ahead and do Prayer of Healing on himself for 1 fatigue. It doesn't cost an action, but we get to roll 1 red die and see how much we heal up. So he gets to heal up 1, so let's go ahead and remove that. He also gets an extra defensive die. We're going to put his hero token on this for the Armor of Faith as a reminder. Then going to use a free attack action with our Fists of Iron right here on this Goblin Archer. We're going to roll 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a gray die. We're trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see if we can get the 4 damage right down over here. It's a miss, and there's no way to re-roll that. We're going to use our second action to go ahead and do the same attack. Hopefully not miss this time. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3 damage and a surge. And then there's 1 defense. We're trying to do 4 damage. So we are going to use the Mana Weave right here for another surge for 2 more damage. So 5 damage, minus 1, 4 damage to the Goblin Archer, and it gets knocked out. Let's go ahead and remove the Goblin Archer from the map right there. Next up is Widow Tara. She's going to move twice of 4 each time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. All right, that's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord's turn, they draw a card. They get Unblinking right here. At the beginning of the round, the Overlord's going to play Dark Charm. So on Sindriel, she has to roll a willpower test of 2, so she has to get 2 or less. She fails, so now the Overlord gets to either move or attack with her. The Overlord's going to use 4 movement. It's going to go 1 and walk itself into the pit. That's going to end the movement there, and then she takes 2 damage for falling in there. Let's go ahead and place the 2 damage right over there. Next up are the Goblin Archers. This minion one's going to go 2 movement, 1 to end its movement and attack Tombo Burrowell with a blue die and a yellow die against 3 gray dice and a brown die. That's because it gets to share her 2 gray dice. He gets a gray dice, and then he has his Armor of Faith ability. All right, we don't have to worry about range. Trying to do as much damage as possible. Remember, there's a 3rd gray die, so this is a lot of damage. It looks like there's going to be 3 damage and a surge right here against 1 defense. We don't have 3 gray dice, so we have to go ahead and roll this one to see if there's any more. We get 1 more, so the Goblin Archer is within 3 range of the Master one, so they don't have to worry about Cowardly, so they get to surge for 2 more damage. So it's going to be 5 minus 2. 3 damage goes through to Tumble. Let's go ahead and exchange the 2 for the 5 right there. Let's continue the movement. We have Scamper, so we can go past Tumble. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5 right over there. Next up, this Goblin Archer, the regular minion's going to attack the Reanimate right there. The blue die and the yellow die against no defensive dice, and it has 4 health. All right, let's see what it can do right here. Ends up, it does have enough to do 4 damage, I believe, so it's going to be 2 damage. It doesn't have to worry about Cowardly, so surge for 2 more, so 4 damage goes through and knocks it out. Let's go ahead and remove it from the map, and then take its movement of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right over here in the corner. All right, next up is this Master Goblin Archer right there. It's going to attack Tombo, needs a range of 1, 2, 3. It's going to be a blue die and 2 yellow dice against 3 gray dice and a brown die because he gets to share her dice pool. All right, remember we're trying to get 3 range. We're also trying to do 5 damage. He has 10 health because of the infection card. I just don't have it down right now. So let's see if we got the range. We get a miss. There is a ton of defense, so we're not going to re-roll that. The Overlord's going to play their other Frenzy card just to redo the whole attack. Trying to get 3 range, and hopefully Tombo doesn't get too much defense this time. We got the range. Let's go ahead and bring everything out. It looks like we have 4 damage, 5 damage, and a surge right there. And then we have 1, 2, 3, and nothing here. We do have to re-roll this to see what we get because he has 3 dice. So 3 plus 1 more, so that's 4. So let's change that to a 4. And then the Master one's going to use his surge for 2 more damage. So 2, 4, 6, 7 minus 4, 3 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and put the 3 damage right over here. All right. The Goblin Archer is then going to go 5, and it has Scamper, so I can move past them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right up over there. And then onto this next Goblin Archer up here. This one's going to go 1, interrupt its movement action to open the door. 2, 3, 4, 5, right up over there. The Scourge Servant's going to move 1 down right over there, like that. Next up is Kindrathul. He gets to move 4 twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right over here, he will try to corrupt this prisoner at the end of the Overlord turn. And then next up are the Shambling Colossuses. This one's going to pick up and count this space. 1, 2, 3, and expand. And then pick this spot. 1, 2, 3, and expand right over here like that. This one's going to pick up, pick this spot. 1, 2, 3, expand. And then pick up that spot. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, expand right over here. Kindrathul at the end of the Overlord's turn is going to try to corrupt the prisoner. He needs to do a knowledge check. His knowledge is 4, so he has to get 4 left. Let's go ahead and see. He fails, but it's going to use Dark Fortune to reroll this black die. Let's go ahead and see if he can get a different one, a lower number. All right, he fails. First up for the heroes is Sindriel. She's going to use an action to get out of the pit. And then she's going to use a fatigue to do Raise Dead with her reanimate right over here like that. Let's go ahead and spend that right there. The reanimate's then going to take its action. 1, 2, 3 right over here. It's going to attack the Master Goblin with a red die and a blue die against a gray die, trying to do 6 damage. All right, let's see how much it can do right over here. We end up having 4 damage and the Surge. Let's pull that out against 1 defense. And then the Surge is for 1 more damage. So 5 minus 1, 4 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and place the 4 damage right there. That's the end of Sindriel's turn. All right, Widow Tara is going to go next. She's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here and spend a fatigue for 1 more movement to go up there. Let's go ahead and put the fatigue right over here. She's actually going to spend 1 more to go 1 more space. She's going to use the extra space to go right here. And then for her second action, she's going to attack this regular minion Goblin Archer that has 1 health left with her Sunburst, a yellow die, and a blue die against a gray die. All right, let's see if she can do the 1 damage. She does get it, so it's going to be 2 damage and a Surge. Let me pull this out real quick. So 2 damage and a Surge against no defense. She's going to use the Unspent Surge to get rid of one of those fatigue right there. Let's go ahead and remove this Goblin Archer from the map. At the end of her turn, Widow Tara rescues this prisoner, which gives her +2 health, and it goes on her mat. Well, they're not rescued yet. They have to be dropped off first, but they are carrying them. Tombo Burwell is going to go next. He's going to do a movement action. He's then going to interrupt his movement action to do a free attack on this regular minion Goblin Archer with his Fists of Iron, 2 yellow dice, and a blue die against a gray die, trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see if we can do the 4 damage right over here. It looks like we did get a bunch of damage. Let's bring this all out. So it's, whoops, that was a 2 and a Surge. So it's 2, 4, 5 damage, 3 surges against 1 defense. So that's definitely going to be 1 surge for an extra damage, and then I guess 2 surges for 2 extra damage. It's going to knock out the Goblin Archer. So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7 minus 1. 6 damage goes through, and the Unspent Surge recovers a fatigue. Let's go ahead and remove this one from the map, and then he moved 1. It's 2, 3, 4 right over here. He's then going to spend a fatigue to do Prayer of Healing on himself, which is not an action. We then exhaust this. So let's go ahead and spend the fatigue here and roll that die. He's also going to get an extra brown defensive die. He heals up 2. So then his Armor of Faith, we're going to put this right here as a reminder of more defense. And then his actual second action is to rest. So we're going to get rid of all the fatigue right here. And then that's the end of Tombo Burrowell's turn. He also gets to grab this prisoner and put him on his mat for +2 health. All right, there we go. Now it's the end of his turn. Last up is Brother Garen. His first action is going to go 1, 2, 3 right here. And as he passes Tombo, he's going to pass off a healing potion. And then his second action is to attack this Master Goblin Archer with throwing knives. He gets +1 damage because he had sneaky. He needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range with a yellow die and a blue die against a gray die. All right, let's see if we get the 4 range first right here. It looks like we got the range. I believe we are trying to do 2 damage. So it looks like we got 3 damage. So we did get it. So 3 damage minus 1. 2 damage goes through and knocks out the Goblin Archer. And then the other Unspent Surge recovers the fatigue right here. We then pass off the health potion from the movement earlier and remove the Master Goblin Archer from the map. That's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they draw a card. They get Dark Might. Goblin Archer, the last one left, is going to move twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3 right to the door right over there. Kindrathul is going to stay put to try to corrupt this prisoner at the end of the Overlord turn. The Scourge is going to move 1 right over here. This Shambling Colossus is going to pick itself up, go 1, 2, 3, expand. We're going to actually go, we're going to go right over there, and then it's going to use its second action to attack the reanimate. It gets a blue, yellow, and red die against no defensive dice, trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see if we can do enough damage. Ends up getting a miss. Let me think about a reroll. Yeah, they do want to use the Dark Fortune right here because it's a lot of stamina to keep resummoning the reanimate. So let's go ahead and re-roll this and see if we get the damage. All right, it looks like we definitely got the damage. So it's going to be 4. Let's pull it all the way out. 5 damage, 2 surges, 1 surge for 2 more. So 7 damage takes out the reanimate. Let's go ahead and remove that from the map. And then this Shambling Colossus is the last one to go. It's going to go pick up itself right here. 1, 2, 3, expand, and then pick itself up. It's going to go 1, 2. It's actually going to go right over here to block the exit, so they will have a hard time dropping off the prisoners. Last up, at the end of the Overlord turn, Kindrethul is going to try to corrupt the prisoner with a knowledge check. His knowledge is 4, so he has to get 4 or less. Let's see what he gets. He succeeds. So he grabs a third prisoner right here, and then the Shambling Colossus has to be replaced. It's going to, both parts enter the pit, so it does take 2 damage for dropping in. Let's go ahead and add that right there, and that's the end of the Overlord's turn. Tomble's going to take the first action. He's going to use the health potion on himself. Let's go ahead and flip that over and then heal up everything right there. During Tomble's turn, Brother Garen's going to use Trailblazer, so they all get to move 1 space. So it's going to go 1 here, 1 there, and then 1 there. All right, go ahead and exhaust Trailblazer like that. And then Tomble's going to use his second action. He's going to go 1, 2. He's going to interrupt his movement to then do a free attack with his Fist of Iron. He gets 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die, trying to do 9 damage on the master one. Before he attacks, he has to test against the Harrowing ability, so he has to pass the willpower check or else he gets terrified. All right, first up, the willpower test of 3 or less. Let's see what he gets. He passes, so on to the attack. It was 2 yellow and a blue against a black die. Let's go ahead and bring this right over here, trying to do 9 damage. Let's see. We end up getting a lot of damage. Let's pull it all out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage and a surge against no defense. So we are going to add another surge here. So with 2 surges, so with 2 more damage. So 5, 6, 7 damage goes through. Let's put the 7 damage right over here, and he gets to continue with 2 more spaces. 3, 4. That's the end of Tomble's turn. Indriel's going to go next. She's going to attack this Shambling Colossus, the master one. It's with her immolation. It's a blue die and a red die against a black die. She needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range. All right, let's see if she gets the range first. She did not get the range right over here. Let me think. All right, she's going to stay put and use her second action to do another attack again. Remember, the 4 range is the important part. Let's see. She got the range. This is going to be good right here. So it's 4 damage against no defense. The Shambling Colossus gets knocked out. She's also out of the Harrowing range, so that's good. And she won't be moving this turn, so we're going to go ahead and use her hero ability and get rid of 2 fatigue right there. Let's go ahead and remove it from the map right over there. Next up is Brother Garen. He gets to refresh his Trailblazer on his turn, so he's going to go ahead and use that. And each of these, Brother Garen and Sindriel, get to move 1 space like that right there. We're going to go ahead and exhaust it. We're then going to move 3, 1, 2, 3, and attack the regular Shambling Colossus with a Steel Broadsword, a blue die, and a red die against a black die, trying to do 7 damage. He's going to suffer damage to add 1 damage to his attack for his hero ability. So let's go ahead and see what we roll right over here. Let's pull this all out. It looks like we have 4 damage. We could re-roll that if we want. I don't think we want to. And then we have the 2 damage right here, plus 1 up here. So 5 minus 2, 3 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and place the 3 damage right over there. Widow Tara is going to go next. She's going to move 4 twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord's turn, they draw a card. They get possessive right here. First up is the Scourge. It's going to attack Brother Garen here with a melee attack. A red die and a blue die against a gray die and a brown die with Ironbound Ring and Iron Shield. All right, let's see how much damage the Scourge gets to do. All right, it looks like we got a blank here, which does add 1 dice because of the Ironbound Ring. So there is 2 defense right here. And then we have 2 damage and a surge, but the surge does nothing, so no damage goes through. Thul is next. He's going to go 1, 2. Stop his movement here, and his second action is to attack Brother Garen with the range attack. He needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 range. It's 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a gray die and a brown die, Ironbound Ring, and Iron Shield. Remember, he needs 6 range. He does have Sorcery 4, so he can swap damage for range. Let's go ahead and see if we get the 6 range. We did get the 6 range, so let's go ahead and bring all of this out right here. So it looks like it's 4 damage and a surge. The Ironbound Ring does trigger, which gives us 1 more. We'll just swap it over to a 1. So the surge is going to be Bone Splinters. So everyone adjacent to Brother Garen's going to suffer 2 damage. And then he himself is doing 4 minus 2. 2 damage goes through to Brother Garen. We're going to place the 2 right over here like this. Or I guess Brother Garen can use the Iron Shield to block 1 more. So they're going to use the shield. So let's go ahead and do that. So Bone Splinters is going to hit everyone adjacent, so it's going to do 2 damage to this. So the Shambling Colossus will exchange the 3 for a 5, 2 on the Scourge, and then there's going to be 2 on Tomble and 2 on Widow Tara. Do the 2 on Widow Tara, so a 3 to a 5 right there, and then the 2 on Tomble. That's the end of Kindred Thul's turn. The Goblin Archer is going to go next. It's going to use its first action to open the door, and then the second is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over here. Next up is this Shambling Colossus. It's going to attack Brother Garen right here. It gets a blue die and a red die against a brown die and a gray die, and then the Ironbound Ring. All right, it does have Puncture, so it gets to ignore 2 defense because there's 2 defensive dice being rolled. That's a miss. I don't think we have any more rerolls. Nope, we don't, so that attack is a whiff. All right, its second action is it's going to pick itself up. It's then going to move 3, counting from this space, 1, 2, 3, and then expand up right over there. Let's move that. And then this one's going to use an action to climb out of the pits, and then it's going to move. Actually, it might just stay here. Let me think about it. Yeah, it's going to stay there, and at the end of the Overlord turn, Kindred Thul is going to try to corrupt a prisoner with a knowledge check. All right, his knowledge is 4 right here, so he's trying to get 4 or less, and he fails. At the beginning of the hero's turn, Brother Garen's going to go first. He's going to use his Trailblazer ability to allow everyone to move 1, so it's going to go 1 there, 1 up here, and 1 right there. We go ahead and exhaust Trailblazer. He's then going to attack the Scourge Servant right here with his Steel Broadsword. He gets a red die and a blue die against a brown die, trying to do 5 damage. He's going to use his hero ability to take a damage to do 1 extra damage. Let's go ahead and see if he can do 5. All right, so we got 3, 4, 5, 2 surges, and a defense, 6 damage, 7 for the surge. So 7 minus 1, 6 damage goes through. The Scourge gets knocked out, and the other unspent surge gets to remove a fatigue like that. We also have some other stuff happening, but before we do that, we are going to use our heroic feat. So we defeated a monster. We get to roll 2 red dice, and each hero within 3 spaces gets to recover that much. All right, let's see how much we heal. Everyone gets to heal up 3. So 3 from Brother Garen. Tomble Burrowell gets to heal up full. Widow Tara gets to heal 3, so the 5 goes down to the 2 like that. So let's remove the Scourge from the map. Brother Garen's then going to move right here for his second action, and then he's going to actually rescue this prisoner right here off of his character map, so that's the first one. Widow Tara gets to go next. She's going to go 1, 2 right here and do a rest action, but also because she's ending her turn there, she gets to rescue the second prisoner, so they get to start healing now. Let's go ahead and recover her fatigue like that. Sindriel is going to go next. She's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right over here. And then her second action is to use Raise Dead, spend a fatigue, and put her reanimate right over there. Let's go ahead and spend a fatigue for that. The reanimate's going to go 1, 2, 3 up here. And then attack this Shambling Colossus with a blue die and a red die against a black die, trying to do 2 damage. All right, let's see if it can do enough damage. We go ahead, we got 2 damage. So let's pull this out, but it looks like there was a 3 defense, so no damage goes through. Tomble's going to go last. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to attack with his bare hands on the Shambling Colossus here to try to do 2 damage with a blue die against a black die. All right, he's trying to do 2 damage. He does get to pierce, where X is the range. All right, so he's doing 1 damage, unfortunately, here, which is not enough to take out the Shambling Colossus. Let's place the 6th damage. Where is it? It's right over here. So let's place the 6th damage right over here. And then Tombo's going to use the Fist of Iron free attack for 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die, trying to do 1 damage. All right, let's see if we can do 1 damage right here. Anything counts. that one's cocked, so we have to re-roll it. All right, it looks like we have 2, 4, 5 damage and a surge against 2. Surge for 1 more. So that's 6 damage minus 2. 4 damage goes through and knocks out the Colossus. All right, so we remove that from the map. The Overlord then uses the ties that bind to bring the Scourge Servant right here, as well as they're going to use Possessive. So the hero who knocked out the Servant suffers 2 damage, so Tomble takes 2 damage as well. Let's go ahead and place the 2 damage on Tomble. We go ahead and exhaust the ties that bind, and that's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they draw a card. They get Word of Misery right here. They're going to actually play this card right now. So during this turn, each time a hero suffers any damage, they'll also suffer fatigue. I'll put it to the side to remind me. All right, and then also at the beginning of the turn, the heroes have rescued 2 prisoners, so they get to heal up only 1 health. It's -1 to the number of prisoners they have rescued. So that's going to be 1 from Tombo, Sindriel, and Tara. The Scourge Servant's going to go next. He's going to move 1 right here, and then he's going to attack Tombo with a blue die and a red die against a gray die. Also, Tombo's going to get Sindriel's Shield Mage ability, so she can hand over the shield for this attack. All right, so we're going to exhaust that right there, the Shield Mage. Let's see how much damage goes through. It looks like we have a lot of damage coming through, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and a surge. There's nothing to surge, though. And then 1 defense plus 1 more for the shield right here, so that's 2. So 4 minus 2. 2 damage goes through and a fatigue. Let's go ahead and place the damage and fatigue right there like that. At the end of the Servant's activation, they're going to play Unblinking here, so each hero in line of sight has to choose to suffer 2 fatigue or 4 damage, or let the Overlord draw a card. Every hero is in range, so we're going to go ahead and decide that for each hero. Widow Tara is going to take 2 fatigue. Tombo is going to take 2 fatigue. Sindriel will take 4 damage, which will exchange the 1 for a 5. But because of Word of Misery, she also takes a fatigue as well. And then Brother Garen's going to take 4 damage. Word of Misery takes a fatigue. Next up is the Shambling Colossus. It's going to attack Tombo with a blue die and a red die against a gray die. All right, let's see how much damage he has. It looks like it's going to be 8 plus 2 for being untainted, so 7 more damage left. Let's go ahead. We didn't get a high roll here for the Shambling Colossus. It's going to be 3 damage, -1. It does have puncture, so it's going to be pierce 1. So 3 damage, and then the fatigue goes through right there. So we'll exchange the 2 for a 5, and then we'll put a fatigue right over here. The Colossus is then going to move using this spot, 1, 2, 3, and then I guess fall down. It's actually going to expand right over there, bring along its 2 damage. That's the end of its turn. Kindrathul is going to be next, and then at the beginning of his activation, he's going to use Enthrall he gets to choose any number of heroes in his line of sight right here to test willpower, so Tombo. He has a willpower of 3, so he's trying to get 3 or less, or else Kindrathul can make him do an attack. He passes. Then Kindrathul is going to make an attack on Tombo Burrowell. He needs to get 2 range. He's going to roll a blue die and 2 yellow die against a gray die. He has 6 life left because he gets 2 for holding a prisoner for now and 2 for being untainted. Let's go ahead and see what we get. Remember, there has to be a range of 2. It looks like we got the range. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 damage and a surge. And then Tombo has a defense right here. But then there's also sorcery 4, so turning 3 of the range into 3 more damage. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think he wants to use bone splinters. He's just going to hurt himself. So 7 minus 1, the 6 damage goes through and Tombo gets knocked out. And then we're going to go ahead and fill up his health and fatigue right here, like this. And then we have to drop the villager. We have to drop the prisoner, and then they also end up getting this right here, martyrdom. For later on, well tainted, you cannot discard a condition if another hero is affected by the same one. We remove his figure from the map, put his hero token right here. We then place the prisoner also on top of there like that. All right, Kindrathul is then going to move right over here. There is the Goblin Archer that you can't see behind the wall, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, interrupt its movement, attack Sindriel over here. It needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range with a blue die and a yellow die against a gray die. We do have to worry about Cowardly, so they can't use Surges, and then there's also a Heavy Cloak. Not that that matters because it gets rid of Surges, but all right, has to get 4 range. Unfortunately, we did not get the range. We got 3 range, 2 damage, and a surge, so the whole attack just doesn't reach. Alright, now Kindred Thule at the end of the Overlord's turn is going to try to corrupt the prisoner with a knowledge check of 4. Alright, his knowledge is 4. Let's see what we get here. He fails. At the beginning of the hero's turn, Brother Garen's going to go first. He's going to use Trailblazers, so then him and Widow Tara can go up 1 space like that right over there. We're going to go ahead and exhaust Trailblazer. He's going to spend 1 fatigue to get a movement. He's going to move up right over here. He's then going to attack with his steel broadsword against the shambling colossus with a blue die and a red die against a black die, trying to do 5 damage. He's then going to use his hero ability to take a damage to add 1 more. So we're going to go ahead and change the 4 for a 5. Remember, he's trying to do 5 damage. Let's go ahead and see, and we get a reroll with the red power die. Ooh, that was close. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then surge for 5. So the shambling colossus gets knocked out. Let's go ahead and remove it from the map like that right there. He's then going to move 1 up here, end his turn there, and pick up this prisoner again. We're going to go ahead and put that right there. Alright, next up is Sindriel. She's going to move 1 space right here, but when she does, the Overlord's going to play Tripwire here, so she has to test awareness. If she fails, she has to end that movement action. Let's go ahead and get that ready. She has to get a 2 or less right here, so let's see what she got. She ends up, it's a 3, shows she fails and ends her movement. Sindriel is then going to use her second action to move all the way over here and drop off a prisoner. So that's going to be the 3rd one right there, and that activates some monsters spawning. The Overlord's going to put the Master Etten over here on the near the pit. They're going to place the regular minion Etten over here on the lava chamber. And then next up, the Reanimate's going to move 1, 2 right here and attack Kindrathul with the red die and a blue die against a brown die and a black die. Alright, let's see how much damage goes through. We end up getting a miss, so nothing happens. Next up, or last up, is Widow Tara. She's going to go 1, 2, 3 right over there. And then she's going to revive Tomble right there. Let's see how much he heals up for her. He heals up 3 health, so that goes down to a 2 right over there, and he goes back to the map. Let's place his figure right over here, and that's the end of Widow Tara's turn. For Tomble's first action, he's going to use his free attack with Fists of Iron on Kindrathul. He gets 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die and a brown die. Kindrathul has 19 health, so he's just trying to do as much damage as possible. Let's see what he gets right here. It looks like he got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right over there. 5 damage, no surges, and then 2 shields. I guess he can use a Mana Weave right over here to then go. He's going to not use it for extra damage, but he's going to use it to recover fatigue like that. So it's going to be 5 minus 2, 3 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and place the 3 damage right over here like that. And then for his first action, he's going to attack Kindrathul again with the same thing. Fists of Iron, 2 yellow and a blue die against a black die and a brown die. But he's also going to spend a fatigue on Blessed Strike. So if he ends up doing some damage, he gets to heal himself and someone next to him. But because we're spending a fatigue next to the Scourge, the Overlord's going to have Widow Tara also grab a fatigue. Let's go ahead and give her the fatigue like that. Alright, we're going to spend the fatigue right here for the Blessed Strike. Let's see if we do at least 1 damage. Let's see. Ooh, that's rough. Ends up being a miss. And then for his last action, he's going to disappear from the map. So use his heroic feat, flip this over, and then we'll remove him from the map and place this token where he was. And that's the end of the hero's turn. We're going to remove him, poof, off the map, and then put that right there. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they draw a card. They end up getting another Dark Might. For having 3 prisoners rescued, everyone gets to heal up 2. So 2 from Widow Tara, 2 from Tomble, 2 from Sindriel, so a 5 for a 3. And then 2 from Brother Garen, so a 5 for a 3 as well, like that. First up for the Overlord, this Etten's going to go, the minion one. It's going to go 1, 2, right over here. It's going to attack the Reanimate with a blue die and 2 yellow dice against no dice, trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see what it gets right here. It has plenty of damage, so it's going to be like, we'll just add it up, 2, 4, 5 damage and 2 surges. A surge for 1 more, so 6 damage. The Reanimate gets knocked out. We're going to remove it from the map. The Master End is going to go next. It's going to pick itself up and move 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and expand. And then it's going to pick itself up and then go 1 and then expand right over here. That's the end of the Etten's turn. Thule is going to go next. He's going to start his turn, and at the beginning of his activation, he's going to use Enthrall on Widow Tara right there. She has to pass a willpower check. Her willpower is 3, so she has to get a 3 or less. Let's see. She ends up passing. His first action is to do a ranged attack on Widow Tara with 2 yellow dice and a blue die against 2 gray defensive dice and a wooden shield. He needs to get a range of 2, so let's go ahead and roll everything and see what happens. Looks like we got the range. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 damage and a surge against no defense right here. But Widow Tara is going to use Runic Weave, so she can use her shield to add 1 defense. So she at least has 1. And then the surge will be used for, I guess they don't really want to do bone splinters, so they're going to use sorcery 4 or 2 to add this 2 range onto damage. So let's recap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, minus 1, 5 damage goes through. So let's go ahead and place that on Widow Tara like that. I changed my mind. We'll actually do the bone splinters. So the Scourge and Brother Garen take 2 damage. Brother Garen takes the 2, so we exchange the 3 for a 5. And then the Scourge Servant takes 2 right there. All right, and then Kindrathul is going to move right over here. He will try to corrupt this prisoner at the end of the Overlord's turn. Next up is the Goblin Archer. It's going to move 1 space right here, interrupt its movement, and attack Brother Garen with the blue die and yellow die against a brown die and a gray die. Needs to get 2 range as well. All right, let's see what we get right here. Trying to get the 2 range. So we got the range, but it doesn't look like we're going to do any damage because it's 5 defense. And then we are within 3 ranges of the Master End, so we don't have to worry about Cowardly anymore. So we can search for 2 more. So 4 damage minus 5 defense, no damage goes through. The Goblin already used 1 space, 2, 3, 4, 5, right up over here behind the wall. We'll actually step 1 step short over here. They don't want to start their turn in the sludge. That would be bad for their movement. Last up for the Overlord is the Scourge. It's going to attack Brother Garen with a red die and a blue die against a gray die and a brown die and an iron shield. All right, let's see what we get right here. Ends up being 4 damage, and then there's no defense rolled. We could use this to reroll a gray die. All right, and then also the Iron Bond Ring does give us 1 defense for rolling a blank. So let's go ahead and re-roll this with the Iron Shield. We got nothing, so we have 1 defense 4 damage minus 1 defense, 3 damage goes through. So let's go ahead and place the 3 right there. 1, 2, and 3. At the end of the Overlord's turn, they're going to try to corrupt this prisoner right here with a knowledge check of 4. All right, let's see if we get 4 or less. We succeed, so Shambling Colossus comes into play. So this is the 4th of the 5th corrupted prisoner for the Overlord. We're going to go ahead and put that into play, and then since both of its tiles are into a pit, it takes 2 damage for falling through, and that's the end of the Overlord's turn. At the beginning of Tombo's turn, he gets to pop up 4 spaces away from his spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go right here. He's going to use his first attack, his free action or free attack from Fists of Iron with 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die and a gray die, trying to do 9 damage. All right, let's see how much damage we can do right here. Just trying to do as much as possible. Let's see. Okay, I have to bring that out. So it looks like there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 damage against 4 defense. Unfortunately, we could use this surge. I guess we will right here just to add 1 more damage. So 1 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and place that right there. And then their first action is to do the same attack with the Fist of Iron, just no more Mana Weave. It's going to be 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die and a gray die. Let's see if we can do more damage this time with Tombo. Looks like we did get a little bit more damage. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a surge. Surge for 1 more, so that's 5. Minus 2, 3 damage goes through. We're going to go ahead and place the 3 damage right over there like that. We're then going to use the last action to do attack again on the Etten. Let's see how much damage we have to do. We have to do 5 damage with 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a gray die and a black die. All right, let's see if we can do the 5 damage. I'm having some bad luck with Tombo, and that's a miss. Cindriel's going to go next. She's going to attack the Master Etten with her Immolation Rune. She gets to roll a red die and a blue die against a gray die and a black die, trying to do 5 damage. All right, let's see if we can do 5 damage. We do have Pierce 1, which is good. We don't have to worry about range here. So let's pull this all out. I don't think this is going to be enough. We don't have any rerolls. So it's going to be 2 damage and 1 more surge for 1 more damage. So 3 damage against Pierce 1 against 3 defense. No damage goes through. She's just going to use her second attack to do the same thing. She's trying to do 5 damage. This Master Etten is just dodging everything right here. All right, let's see what we get. We end up getting 3 defense for the Etten, and then we got 3 damage right here. There is Pierce 1, so 3 damage minus 2, 1 damage goes through. Let's exchange the 4 for 5, and that's the end of Sindriel's turn. She did not move, so she gets to recover 2 fatigue for her hero ability. Let's recover the 2 fatigue like that. Garen's going to go next. He's going to use his Trailblazer ability so they each get to move 1, him and Widow Tara like that right there. Let's go ahead and exhaust that. Then going to attack the Master with a steel broadsword, a blue die, and a red die against a black die and a gray die, trying to do 4 damage. He's also going to use his hero ability for taking 1 damage to add 1 damage. So let's go ahead and see if we can do the 4 damage. Looks like we might finally be able to take... No, it doesn't look like it. All right, let's see right here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus 2. Only 3 damage goes through. We could re-roll this. Let's think about it. We are going to use the Steel Broadsword ability to re-roll this. There's 2 sides that could actually take out the Etten, so let's see. We got it. That's lucky right there. Finally, the luck has turned around, so that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 minus 2. So the 4 damage goes through, and we're going to use the Unspent Surge to recover fatigue like that. We're going to remove the Etten from the map like that. Brother Garen's then going to move 3, 1, 2, 3 right here, and then drop off and rescue the 4th prisoner for the heroes. Widow Tara is going to go next. She's going to move twice, so she gets to move up to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then she's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right over here. And then at the end of her turn, she gets to grab this prisoner like that. Let's go ahead and put that on her card right like that. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they draw a card. They end up getting Dark Silhouette right here. The heroes have rescued 4 prisoners, so they get to each heal up 3. So Sindriel heals up 3. Widow Tara heals up for 3. Tumble heals up for 3. Like this. And then Brother Garen heals up for 3. All right, the Scourge Servant's going to move 1 down right over here, and that's the end of its turn. Kindred Thule is going to go next. At the beginning of his activation, he's going to use Enthrall and Sindriel here. She has to pass a willpower test. She's looking to get a 2 or less right here. So let's see if she gets taken control of. She fails, so then Kindred Thule gets to use her as an attack. Kindred Thule is going to have her attack Brother Garen with Immolation, with a blue die and a red die against a gray die and a brown die. All right, let's see how much damage we can do. There's also Pierce 1, so it looks like we got 1 defense and 1 blank, but the Ironbound Ring does count that as a 1 then. So that's 2 defense, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, Surge for 5, and then Pierce 1. Brother Garen's going to use this shield for 1 more defense, so it's going to be, let's recap this, 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, minus 1, and then against 4 damage against the 2 defense, 2 damage goes through, like this right there. Thule is then going to move 4, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He's then going to attack Tumble Burrowell here. He needs to get 2 range. He gets a blue die and 2 yellow dice against a gray die, trying to do 6 damage. Sindriel right here is going to use Shield Mage to give Tumble an Iron Shield for this attack. All right, let's see if we get the 2 range first, and then we also have Sorcery 4. So we got the 2 range, and we're going to use that 4 to add damage. So I think this is going to be more than enough. So it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. We don't need to do Bone Splinters. 9 damage minus what? 2 defense. So then 7 damage goes through. We could re-roll this, so let's go ahead and re-roll this for a chance to get 3 defense. So remember, we're doing 9 damage. Oh, I don't think it matters. I thought I did the math wrong real quick. So Tumble Burrowell gets knocked out right there. So we fill up his health and fatigue. He has plus 2 health still, even though he is tainted. So that's going to go up to 10. And then we remove him from the map. Remove him and replace him with this hero token. And that's the end of Kindred Thule's turn. Shambling Colossus is next. It's going to use its first activation to pop out of the pit. And then it's going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. It's going to kind of block this pathway right over here. And that's the end of its turn. Etten's then going to go. It's going to use this spot, 1, 2, and then I guess expand right over here. And then its next action is just to block the heroes in right over here. We're actually going to rewind and then put this right over here to make the arrows waste an action to move so they can't do double attacks. Last up is the Goblin Archer. It's going to move 1 space here, so it can be within 3 range of a Master Minion, so it doesn't have to worry about Cowardly. It's going to make a ranged attack on Widow Tara. It needs 1, 2, 3 range, a blue die and a yellow die against 2 gray dice and a wooden shield. Alright, we have to get the 3 range first. Let's see if we get that. It looks like we do get the range, so we're good. We got 5 range. So it's going to be 3 damage plus a surge. So that's 5 damage. Widow Tara is going to use her wooden shield. I guess she can use Runic Weave to use it instead. And then that's 5 minus 2. 3 damage goes through. So she takes that damage right over there. It's to finish its movement. It did 1, 2, 3, 4 right over there. That's the end of the Overlord's turn. Tomble's going to go first, but at the start of his turn, he's going to use Brother Garen's Quick Recovery to heal up 1 health and get a movement point. So we're going to spend 1 fatigue right over here on Brother Garen for this, and then we're going to heal up 1 from Tomble, and he gets to go back to the map. So we're going to place him right here. He's then going to use his first free attack from Fist of Iron to attack the Shambling Colossus right here with 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die, trying to do 5 damage. All right, let's see if we can do the 5 damage. Let's go in there. It looks like we might get enough. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 damage, no defense, Mana Weave for a surge for 1 more damage. So 5 damage goes through and knocks out the Shambling Colossus. Let's go ahead and remove that from the map. Tombo's then going to move 2, 1, 2 right over here, and then his second action is to attack Kindrathul with his Fist of Iron with 2 yellow dice and a blue die against a black die and a gray die. He has 16 health left, so I don't think it's going to be enough to take him out. And then Tomble gets a miss again. Sindriel's going to go next. She's going to attack Kindrathul with her Immolation. She needs to get 1, 2, 3 range, a blue die and a red die, and a black die and a brown die. There is Pierce 1. Let's see if she gets the 3 range first. That's the important part. She got the range, so let's go ahead and bring it out. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. And then with Pierce 1, it's going to be 3 damage that goes through. Go ahead and add the 3 damage right there. So he has taken 6 damage. Let's just move that. And then her next action is to summon the Reanimate right here with Raised Dead. And we're going to place that right there. Go ahead and place the Fatigue right over here. The Reanimate's going to go right over here and then attack Kindrathul with the blue die and a red die against a black die and a brown die. All right, let's see how much damage it can do. We end up getting a lot of damage here, so it's 4 damage and 2 surges against 2 defense, and it will do a surge for 1 more damage. So 5 minus 2, 3 damage goes through. We're going to go ahead and add the 3 damage, so that's now 9 damage. He has 7 left, and then that's the end of Sindriel's turn. She did not move, so she gets to recover 2 fatigue. Let's recover the 2 fatigue right there. Brother Garen's going to go next. He's going to use his Trailblazer ability just on himself for 1 free movement right there. Let's go ahead and exhaust that. Brother Garen's then going to move 1, 2, 3 right here, and he's going to attack with his Steel Broadsword and Kindrathul, but the Overlord's going to use Dark Silhouette, so then it's going to swap places with the Servant, and then the Servant is now being attacked instead. So let's go ahead and move that right over here and there. And then the Servant, I don't think it has any defensive dice. Or the Servant has a brown die, so it's going to be a red die and a blue die against a brown die, trying to do 5 damage. Brother Garen's going to take a damage with his hero ability to add 1 more. So let's see if he can do 5 damage. We end up getting, it doesn't look like enough. We could do a reroll if we want. That's 1, 2, 3, and then a defense. So we will re-roll this with the Steel Broadsword ability, trying to see if we can get up to 3. We got 1 less, which is rough. So 1, 2, 3 for the ability, minus 1, 2 damage goes through. Let's go ahead and place the 2 damage on the Servant right over there. Has 1 health left. Next up is Widow Tara. You can't see it, but there's a search token right there. So she's actually going to grab the search token. She ends up getting a health potion right there. She's going to move 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 right over here like that. And that's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they draw a card. They end up getting Critical Blow. For rescuing 4 prisoners, everyone gets to heal up 3. So 1, 2, 3 in Tomble, 1, 2, 3 on Brother Garen, and then 3 on Widow Tara. Exchange the 5 for a 2, and then Sindriel was already full. The Scourge is then going to attack Tomble with a blue die and a red die against a gray die. Actually, it also gets the defensive pool of Brother Garen. Give me a sec. That also adds another gray die and a brown die. Let's try and do 4 damage. Let's see what it rolls. That one's cogged, so I guess these 2 as well. So we have to go back down. There we go. That's fine. All right, so it's going to be 4 damage, but again, looks like 5 defense, and there's no surge abilities, so no damage goes through. Next up is the Etten. It's going to attack Tomble right here. a blue die and 2 red dice against 2 gray dice and a brown die, trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see if we can do the 4 damage. It looks like we got a lot of damage. Let's add it all out. So it's going to be 3, 6, and 2 surges. One more surge for 1 more damage. So that's 7 damage. But there is 3, 4, 5, 6 defense. So 1 damage goes through. All right. All right, next up is the Goblin Archer. It's going to attack Widow Tara with a range of 1, 2, 3. Gets a blue die and a yellow die against 2 gray dice and a wooden shield. All right, we do have Cowardly, so we can't use surges. Let's see if we get the range. We got the range. Unfortunately, it's just going to be, let me pull these out, 1 damage against 2 defense. Nothing goes through. Next up is Kindrathul. He's going to use his Enthrall ability at the beginning of his activation in Sindriel. She has to pass a willpower test. She has a willpower of 2, so she's trying to get 2 or less. She fails, so then Kindrathul gets to use her to make an attack. He's going to use her to use her Immolate rune on her own Reanimate. She needs a range of 2. It's a blue die and a red die, trying to do 4 damage. All right, let's see what we get right here. We got the range, and it doesn't look like we have enough damage, so it's going to be 1, 2, plus a surge for 1 more, so 3 damage on the Reanimate. Let's go ahead and place that right over here like that. Kindrathul is then going to move 4, 1, 2, 3, right over here, and then it's going to attack Tomble. He's going to use 2 yellow dice and a blue die against 2 gray dice and a brown die. All right, he's trying to do 3 damage. Let's see what he gets right here. Looks like he has a lot of damage. Oh, I rolled wasn't supposed to be a red die in there. All right, so there's going to be less damage. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. The surge doesn't really matter. Well, I guess it does against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defense. So he has to do, so it's 5 against 5. He is going to use the surge on critical blow, which ends up knocking out Tomble Burrowell for 3 more damage. We remove Tomble from the map and then go ahead and place his token right over there. And that's the end of the Overlord's turn. At the beginning of the hero's turn, Sindriel is going to go first, but she's actually going to have her Reanimate go and attack the Scourge token. It's a red die and a blue die against a brown die, trying to do 1 damage. All right, let's see if we can get the damage in. Looks like we got it. So it's going to be 3 damage, -1, 2 goes through and knocks out the Scourge. I was actually wrong. It has 7 health, so then it has 1 health left again. So we're going to go ahead and exchange the 3 for 5. And then Sindriel is going to use her Immolate rune right there on the Scourge with the blue die and a red die against the brown die. She does need 3 range. All right, let's see if she gets her 3 range. She does not, or she could actually use a surge here, so I think she's going to be good. She's going to use the surge for +1 range, so that's going to be 4 damage against the Scourge and knock it out. Let's go ahead and remove it from the map. And then Sindriel is just going to end her turn there. Next up, Widow Tara is going to move twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. She's going to rescue the 5th prisoner, which allows the heroes to win. As you escort the last prisoner to safety, Artus Ex Erebus appears standing atop a crumbling tower above you. Go then, he rasps, but know that the chains that bind me have their hold on you as well. This victory is nothing but a temporary respite. His words stay with you on your way back to Rothfield, but at least none of his soldiers do. Each of the heroes gets 1 experience, for now a total of 2 each. The heroes earn 350 gold, for now a total of 400, and the Overlord gets 1 experience. The Overlord won Castle Dalibor, the heroes won Freedom from Flesh. Next up is Taskmaster. The heroes are then going to shop. They get to grab 5 items. We have Lightning Javelin right here. We then also have Plate Mail. We have Bone Wand. We have Sash of the Slayer. And then we have Blessed Armor. Let's go ahead and put that right over there. We then have Blessed Armor. I'm going to think about who's going to purchase what, and we'll come and reconvene. All right, this is the end of the shopping. Up here is all of the stuff the heroes are selling. Widow Tara is going to grab Blessed Armor. Tomble is going to get a Forewarned Ring Relic that they earned. Sindriel is going to get a Lightning Javelin and then use her 2 experience on Vampiric Blood. And then Brother Garen's going to get the Bone Wand. That leaves all the heroes except for Sindriel with 2 experience. The heroes now have 0 gold, and the Overlord still has 1 experience. Next up is Taskmaster.